This is number 8 of 10 action outcome statements that will guide you in the writing of your legacy story as an elder mentor. And what we're going to look at now is to execute your action outcomes with truth, trust, and transparency. Now, number 7, if you go back to that video, you'll notice it's about decide your action outcomes for your wealthy life. And in that, I mentioned about rescripting and figuring out all the action outcome statements. And the ones that you've decided to work on, now it's time to execute on those, to actually put them into motion, to implement them, to deliver on them, and to do so from a position of truth, trust, and transparency. Now, let me give you a bit of an overview of those 3 words and how they might unfold for you in your life. And I'm going to use a social media example here. You're aware that when you know someone and you like them on social media, what you then do is you do a comment and share, or some combination thereof. And how this relates to truth, trust, and transparency is the following. If you know and like someone, then there is some truth there for you, and that you're willing to share the truth, that value of truth, with the world, possibly, or with a select group of friends. And therefore, if you know and like, and from this place of truth, then you would trust that the message that you received is the message that you want to pass on. And therefore, you are trusting that person has done the necessary insights and ideas, and found out that they make sense, rather than just passing on something that might be considered bad gossip. And therefore, if you trust it, then you were willing to comment and share. In other words, you are going to take that message of truth and trust, and you're going to make it transparent by sharing it into the world that you know, into your social media world, so other people can read it as well and benefit from that message. So this truth, trust, and transparency is another way to look at you executing your action outcomes. When you set them up, they have to come from a place of truth. And if you trust enough that you're going to implement them, deliver on them, by doing so, you are then being transparent for all those who experience you in your behavior, in the actions and consequences that you're sharing with the world, in being for the world. Now, there may be a point of where you might go, let me just pause here. I call this the credibility pause. Again, let me use the example of social media. I might receive a message that's come in, and while it might have truth to the person who's sending it, I might not quite go that far, and therefore I may not trust it. And what I'm doing is I'm going through the credibility pause before passing it on. I'm just checking to make sure that it makes sense for me. It passes the sniff test. It just gets by all the different ways in which I check that I will pass it on, because sometimes I find that I get messages that I will not pass on. And some of those messages might get to the point where I might delete someone from my social media feed. But often it might be as that they may have just missed the message somehow, and I'm not going to pass it on, but I'm not deleting them out of my network. I want to share that with you. So there's this credibility pause. It's like when you're in conversation with someone, sometimes it's better to just take a little pause before you respond. I call that the credibility pause. And it's important when you are about to take your execution of your action outcome that you may want to just do a little credibility pause before you take the full and final steps, and or before you just take any kind of step, is just have a credibility pause, and does what I'm going to do pass the sniff test? Does it pass the ethical value review? It's important that you do so, because when you present yourself, you share your action outcomes, then people will pick up on what's of truth, trust, and transparency to you. And it's what strengthens or takes away from relationships that you have with others. So I would encourage you to just to take a look at this story of truth, trust, and transparency. And again, I would encourage you to subscribe, ring the bell, comment, like, and share here, because it's a way of us sharing our truth, trust, and transparency because of this video and the others that are in the series. And with that, take care.